So do you have a Chevy Silverado and you can't see a damn thing inside of it? I can't either. So I'm going to do something about it. Here's what you need. I got on Amazon and I bought 30 pre-wired LEDs. Then I bought this wire here. And other than the LEDs and the wire I just showed you, you'll need this. It's a Torx number 10. It's a little bitty one. And then one of these tools here, which is a trim tool. Usually you can get them all kinds of shapes and sizes and varieties, but this one's like $3.99 off Amazon. Then you'll need this drill bit here, and you'll also need the drill that's never charged when you need it. Mine's inside getting charged right now. This is a 3/16 drill bit. So there's the upper console. We're going to take that apart. Take your finger, just like you're getting sunglasses out. Tuck your hands up underneath here like that. Just gently pull on that. Like that. So push that back so you can actually work. The Torx I mentioned, there's 2 screws. One right there, one right there. Take those out. So now that we have the screws out, sit them in a nice comfy place where you're not going to lose them. There's a beautiful spot down there on the floor. Now there's 2 clips inside here, and those you'll need to use your little trim tool, this feller here, tuck it inside there, pry a little bit, tuck it inside there, just make sure there's not a bunch of grease all over your tool, pry a little bit, and voila. Now the door's open on my old Chevy here. Close the door, and as it's timing out and shutting my lights off, as you can see they're on right now, we'll talk about this button here. This one right here would be grand if you could wire into that, but inside there's some big computer chip, and I could never figure it out. There's a ground, 2 hots, and some space age wire that comes out of it that I have no idea what it does. So you can turn the lights on and off and have them, working off of the door. Can't use that button. It's going to be this one here. This button, push it, they come on, push it, they come off. But on the other side, this is that same switch. You have 2 wires going into a box. That's your LED light. And if you hit the overhead light, which is this big one here, it comes on and it goes off, or works by the door. However, you can open up the door and it comes on. So if you want all those actions to happen where you turn on this side light and all the rest of your lights come on, as well as use this button to turn all your lights on and have the ones come on in the floor that we're about to wire come on, you'll have to wire it into this. This is towards the front of the truck. This is towards the back of the truck. I tested it with an LED in that pack of LEDs that I got. This side's the negative, that side's the positive. We're going to hook a positive line into that, a negative line into that. I've already pre-wired that wire the other night when I didn't have enough time to complete this job. And this is just the wire that I bought. I fished it through the big cavity that's in the underneath the headliner there. I pried back this rubber thing and stuck my hand in there a little bit until I could feel it and pulled it out. Ran it down this rubber piece and down through my console, and it's somewhere wrapped up above my emergency brake down there. So I'm going to make the connection here. You can do it however you want. I'm just going to split that wire and attach this wire to it, and then I'm going to shrink wrap some shrink wrap tubing that has an adhesive liner on the inside for marine purposes, and it seals it out. So whatever you want to use. And don't have that button where that light is on, or have your door open where the light is on. Turn it all off before you cut that. And to make life just a little bit easier, use that odd contraption there by depressing the 2 pieces on top, which you'll find up here, and then rotating this around to put this down in your lap so you can actually get to something. So what I did in reality was I just stripped off some of the insulation so that I can make a connection with the wires that are running down to the new LEDs. And what I'm using here is electric duct. It's a 4-inch pieces of dual wall adhesive lined heat shrink tubing, and it's got a 4-to-1 ratio on shrinking instead of the normal stuff, which is only like 2-to-1. So I can take something like this, and it's got glue on the inside as you heat it up, and that seals everything nice and tight. Oozes out of there, and then it stays in place. So I'm going to use that and this lighter here in order to hook those wires. onto those connections there. Put the heat shrink tubing on the wire first, then make the connection, then slide it down over the whole thing and then shrink it. And see, I just wrapped that wire really crappily around that wire, if crappily is a word. But I just made it so that it's nice and tight, and whenever I slide this over top of it and shrink it, it'll all look nice and pro. See, ASC certified technician working here. On to the next wire. So now we have a wire running through the headboard down to this box of magic buttons. We can now put this box of magic buttons back in its place. Just make sure that's still off, so that line is still dead, in case the ends of your wire that you have ran down to the floorboard over there are touching for some reason. That'll keep you from shorting stuff out. There, wonderful. All back together. Now these LEDs are not a full cab mounted LED system that puts out like 2 billion candlelight of power. These are just little single LEDs putting out just enough light so you might be able to see, you know, dip can, M9, you know, shield, something like that you might have laying in your door, or something else on the floor that, you know, you really can't see because there's only one little tiny LED shining in your truck when you turn on your dome lights. So I'm going to pick a few spots in here that matters to me. You pick your own, and you know, directions that they're going to be facing. It's daytime. I kind of have an idea where they'll be pointing. Since they're directional, remember the ones that you're buying are like 30 degrees and they're directional, so they like broadcast into, you know, somewhat like a flashlight into an area. So I'm going to pick my side panels on my door. You know, any light's going to make me much happier, and I might even smile. Let's pick our spots. Well, to start things off, you can see my wire there. That's fed from the top. That's what's going to be feeding these LEDs to make them come on. Now let's find a spot that's going to be the least invasive or evasive drilling. You can probably fashion some kind of little mount down there to make your LEDs not have to, like, you can like glue them on or whatever you want to do so you don't damage your truck. But to me, a truck, I'm going to drive it till it lays down. It's mine. I don't really care. So I'm going to probably pick down there, way down in the bottom of this panel, something that I can drill through where I'm not going to go into the main wiring harness of my truck and have to do like $10,000 worth of damage with a drill bit. So I'm going to find something down here that'll broadcast over here so I can actually see what's going on in that door in the night when I turn on the dome lights. From what I can see already, instead of having to drill into my truck and a bunch of panels, we'll just go into this cheapo right here that's holding the thing where these dudes hook these things to your truck to tell you how much money you got to pay them to have it fixed. So I'm going to probably drill somewhere over here. 2 little holes, put 2 little LEDs facing back towards where this camera is. So with the drill that's never charged when you need it, try to line up your drill bit just like it's facing the direction that you want the light to shine, because when you stick that little LED in there, that's the way it's going to be pointing. So I'm going to fiddle with this a minute without using the camera in the other hand so I can actually focus on what I'm doing and drill 2 holes. So there we go, 2 fabulous holes. Make sure when you're drilling those, if you decide to put them right there, there is a hellacious wiring harness back there. Don't tag that with your drill bit. So with these fancy holes drilled, I'm going to push one of these LEDs in there. Probably won't even need glue, but we'll see. Let's try the other one. I'm putting my finger on the edge of the LED. Doesn't seem like that hole's as clear as the other one, but that might work out to an advantage because it's good and tight. As you can see there, I got the hot wire coming in, tied into the 2 red LEDs going up. And the same goes for the ground, with the 2 grounds going up. I'm only going to put those 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. That line that I ran to the floor, I'm just going to tie another hot wire to that, run it across, and put 2 LEDs on the other side. And that's it. Real quick on the connection on the bottom. I put a bigger piece of tube up here so I can drape it all over every bit of this once it's done. But you can see I got the 3 wires here. The ground coming in, which is also the ground that leaves and goes to the other side of the truck. You can see that wire there. This is where it's coming in from up top. This is where it's leaving going to the other side. Those are the 2 going up to the LEDs. I put that shrink wrap with adhesive tubing on there if this thing would ever focus. And when you heat that up at the last minute, pinch down the last like inch of it so all that glue adheres, and then that's sealed. So that in case that wire gets yanked on or whatever, boot catches it coming in from hunting, something like that, then it doesn't yank it apart and then burn your truck to the ground. This is what I mean about that tube that's up the line right there. See, those are all connected now. I'm going to bend those back, line them up with the line, and then I'm going to slide that down over that whole entire setup there and seal her shut. So let's learn from my mistakes. I'm using 4-to-1 ratio tubing, so I don't know why I didn't get the bigger size, which is this size here, and put it on there. It would have been perfect. So I got it on there as far as I could. Now I'm going to shrink that down and tuck this up in the truck and then figure that wire going to the other side. See, all shrunk up. Less being that piece covered, the rest of it looks nice. I'm going to hit the on button first, just like if I needed all the lights in my truck to come on. And then being that we are tied into this one, which is a hot wire just for this individual light, I'll do that one second. Let's do that. All right, here goes the big door button on. That's nice. And I just turned it off. Now I'm going to hit the independent one little map reading light that's on my side. Turns it on as well. Now I'm going to open the door on my truck just like you would when you enter and exit and it turns on at night. Wow, also works. So now we're on the other side of the truck, and I fed that wire through whatever hole I could find and stuff like that to keep it into place. And I got over here, and instead of going and buying a $30 bracket, I just tied one of those magic knots that hold things in place. So there we go, a little bit of wire. I think somewhere over here is going to be a good spot to put something. Not sure yet. Let's check it out. Now with the door closed, it's a very different story than when the door is open. I don't really see a good spot to put it. You got that big plastic thing here, which pretty much just covers everything. Let's go take a look at that. So what do we have down here? This big flimsy plastic thing that covers all the ducting up inside there. I guess someday I might have to get in there to change the fan or that regulator switch that goes out that only allows you to put your heating or your fan speed on high and nothing else. So no big deal. I'll drill some LEDs right there and not glue them in just like I did the other side. And if I need to access it, I just take my fingers and put them on the LEDs, push them out, let them dangle, get them out of the way, do my work, and then pop them back into place. Just as easy to replace the LEDs by having a little bit of extra wire on the end of here whenever you're doing this. So don't cut yourself short. So there's my brand new fabulous holes with my two brand new fabulous LEDs. Totally out of the way, you wouldn't even know they're there. So now I've got those done. I'm going to take this bigger tubing and slide it over top of those. Really can't do it one-handed here, but you get the picture. Put them down inside there, run it way up the wire, and then heat shrink that. So there you have it. I slid that up on there, heated it up. Didn't do it so much up here so I don't affect the insulation that's on these wires. Once the tip was still hot, I squeezed it together, and there it is. I'm just going to tuck that up inside there, and it can have a happy life. Up and out of the way, and if I ever need it, it'll be there. So there's the LEDs. So we're gonna run that test again, and that's been off the whole time. We're now gonna do that. We're in the truck with the doors closed. So the first button we're gonna do is the door button. It's off. We're gonna turn it on. There's on. And then I'm gonna hit the button that's on the driver's side for just the map light that goes in your lap. There it is. Everybody's all lit up. That's the floor, and then that one map light. Nothing seems to be hot, nothing seems to be odd or acting funny. So there's the LEDs. So there's my lights, and we'll come back out here after dark and then go in and eat dinner and mess around in the house and come back out. I'll get a video of, pretty much how the light's projecting. You might have to do some adjustments if you end up doing this. I'm not saying you should do this, but if you do end up doing it, you might have to adjust the way that they're pointed, that kind of thing, and the little holes that you drilled. Might have to add some silicone glue or sealant in there so you can kind of hold it in position until it starts setting up and let it go so that it's pointing right where you want it. I don't know if this is too much load for that system or not enough, or I have no idea. All I know is that they're coming on. I didn't have to put a big goofy toggle switch up there or somewhere else on my truck to work them independently from the buttons that are in that console. If it ends up catching my truck on fire or burning it to the ground or blows the whole system and I got to spend 10 grand on fixing it, I'll update this video. But as of right now, these very low load, barely any electricity using LEDs seem to be working. I'm not a mechanic. I'm a nobody. I own a Chevy Silverado truck that I couldn't see nothing in the doors. So I added some lights. So if you want to do this project, I got about maybe $20 in it. If you don't want to do this project or you got some problems with the way I did it, doesn't matter. This is what I did. Thanks for watching. All right, so it's nighttime. I just turned that light on up there. I got some tape over top of it to somewhat block it, just to see if these little lights down here are doing anything. This is a cell phone and it is nighttime. You can see that we have our lights there shining. And you can see my hand. This is down beside the seat all the way to the back. I got some light down there. There's not a lot of room, but there is some light in the floor. And it kind of does the job. And then this is the other side. And then this is where, you know, I got my hand in the door. So there is a little bit of light projecting in from a different direction. But, you know, these lights are bright. The ones that come from the truck. But see, they're hitting the seat. And you can't see anything down in there hardly. Especially on the driver's side. There, I just ripped the tape off. It's just a dark hole down in there. And usually when you're sitting here and you're looking down in there, none of this light's making it down in here. But that light right there is coming from the LEDs that I put up front. So it helped out, I guess. May be worth it to you, it may not. But with what I've learned tonight, you know, I can change the direction of those a little bit to maybe focus light a little bit better. I could buy a little bit more powerful LEDs or add more LEDs. I don't know. It's better lighting than what I had.